Let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. Happy April Fool's Day, buddy.
Happy April Fool's Day.
Do you like it? You a fan?
No. Suck. I think it's terrible.
I said this morning, like, every day with the world we live in now is April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
So it's not even special anymore.
Agreed.
Every day I'm like, is this real? I can't tell. Is this real or not? I don't know. Yesterday I saw McNeil tweet out something of Tommy Boy on Shark Tank, and I thought, well, that looked real.
Looked
to
real?
me.
Yeah.
It was quite fun.
It certainly was fun. Yeah, we live in a very, I think the only way to say it is we live in a very unique world.
We live in a world of your own truths.
We do.
And we see this in the NFL right now. NBC did have a good one today. So gets to school, texts the blonde, where's my Chromebook?
Okay.
So she's like, what do you mean? And by the way, if you don't have kids of a certain age, if you don't have a Chromebook, basically you can't participate in school. You might as well just,
you need it all.
You might as well just go pick them up and they can sit on the couch, because without one, there really is no path forward for you throughout the day. And his first class is something to do with arithmetic, so it's extra critical in that one.
Arithmetic. What a great word.
Such a great one. So he goes, my Chromebook's not here. I don't know where it is. She's trying to get the other two ready for school. She's running around the house trying to find it. But he plugged it in. I don't understand. I'll check his room. I'll check this. She's bouncing around everywhere. She's like, well, I can't drop it off. I'll drop it off to his school after I drop off the two littles, so forth, so on. So can't find it. Nothing happens. She gets back. She's still like, she's so mad at him. And then he texts her, April Fools. And I said, I'll be honest, I can't even be mad about that. I think that's a pretty good. I hate April Fools.
He let that prank run for a while,
but he let it go for about an hour.
Maybe that could have come back to get him.
He might.
About an hour.
I feel like he might pay a little bit for that one.
He could. He doesn't. He's not Bootsy. He's teenager now, so you're not going to get away with it with a smirk and a wink.
Yep.
But I did think it was a pretty good play.
How did your wife?
Oh, it's hilarious.
She actually was supportive of it. She, cussed him a little bit, but at the same point said, I got to, it's pretty good. Like, pretty good job out of him. I know you guys have probably both been in the world, for some of the younger audience out there, like there was a world without X and without all of the social media apps that give you a running timeline of real time. And when all these apps
or fake time,
when all of these things were first being adjusted, and like I was doing daily radio just down in Columbus at the time, it was very difficult to remember it was April Fool's Day, because you would see things and the only way that you would know would be, is there a blue check mark? But then even the blue check marks would get on it. And now that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yes.
So you had like Tiger this morning. Did you see that one?
I have it popped up, and
yes.
Go ahead, read it, Gibby.
I believe
hyperbaric.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but a few weeks after rupturing my left Achilles, the sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber, plus the explosive lifts, my doctors and trainers have me ready to play in the Masters next week. Can't wait to see y'all on the course. 5.9 million views.
Yeah.
He follows that up.
About an hour later.
Yeah. And says, P.S. April Fools, my Achilles is still a mess.
Here's the thing that I would tell of Tiger. I would say, Eldrick, it's just not funny.
No.
It's not funny. Like,
it's not funny.
What
April Fools is funny. I mean, what NBC did is funny to him, certainly, but not funny to your...
No, she did not enjoy it in the moment. I think she was appreciative of it post.
I think she was probably even relieved that it was...
Yeah, that was not. But, yeah.
Jason Sobel from, I believe, Golf Channel. He's one of the big golf... And mm-hmm. He's one of the guys that is granted access a lot of times to Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
A lot to unpack here. Dude who once wouldn't even tell us about his torn ACL and broken leg is now doing a stand-up routine about his Achilles. Then punctuates the punchline with a smiley face. I'm going to need a minute.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly funny was the other part of it. Like, like get people's hopes up and then, oh, yeah, I don't have an Achilles. It's not going to go well. I haven't seen anything else today. Have you guys seen anything else, or is everybody else kind of?
I hope not. No.
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. I was never a fan of it. Even as a kid, I wasn't.
By the way, I think that whole episode in 1923 we just watched could have ended with April Fools, and it would have been better than it not being an April Fool's joke.
I think he is an idea man, who thrives on brutalism and
gonna
negativity.
say.
I think he's got.
But
worlds
Yellowstone wasn't like that at first.
It wasn't until it was.
Yes, agreed.
And then he ran out of stuff, and he's being compensated a great deal of money to do all of these shows, and he's doing way too many. And I think what ends up happening is this whole season of that show, which I still think is a massive hit for Paramount. Like when you open the app, it's still like the number one thing. And I saw something last week of like streaming, and it was way at the top. Like it wasn't. I think it was second. There was something else maybe on Netflix that was number one, but it was like the number two thing in all of streaming. And every episode is exactly the same. It's just brutal.
I just think they like went to a board. They're like, all right, we're gonna have this nice lady from a nice family in England. How can we torture her
In the most depraved,
awful
gross,
ways. over and over
and over. And
Oh,
just
we
see
did
what
that?
the
Let's do it again.
Try one more time.
That's fun.
Yeah, let's do more of that.
More of that. Yeah.
And they did it like with all of it. So yeah, I think it's hard. You think about like you and I are watching White Lotus as well right now.
Yep.
Like that show, I think has done an incredible job of doing probably what True Detective tried to do, which is the first season of True Detective is unreal.
Unreal.
And then the ones that have followed, the third one was pretty decent. Was Steven Dorff? That's the guy.
Dorff.
That's the guy we were trying to think of yesterday. It was
Dorff.
Steven Dorff. Yeah,
That's great.
and that was a good one.
Did you watch? Where are you on Gemstones?
No, I did Yellow. I'll do that tonight. So
Okay.
I did.
So you're still 2 to go on.
I did Lotus, and then I did last night. I did 1923.
So you did 2 23s last night.
Yeah,
Oh.
and which was grueling. Grueling.
The first one by standards was okay, wasn't it?
No!
Oh no, no,
No, it was not okay.
None of
At
them were
all.
okay, dude.
None of it was okay.
Yeah.
No, it was awful. So, but Lotus has done that where it's taken 3 different places and done a compelling
Yeah. I'm
storyline
excited
in
for the
3
finale.
different places. Like they've landed the plane on that. Of those 3 places, which one do you think is the most appealing to visit? So they went to Maui, they went to Sicily, and they went to Thailand.
For me, Sicily, Maui, Thailand.
Sicily, Maui, Thailand. Okay, yeah.
That just place feels very remote. I think it is
Thailand?
outrageous. Yeah, Koh Samui.
Yeah.
I feel like it's outrageously hot. I don't think there's a whole lot going on there. Like you're at that resort,
Buckle in.
buckle in. I would now if it was like in Bangkok, and I don't want to say the island Phuket.
What a job out of you.
If it were there, I think I'd Thailand. Thailand's definitely on my bucket list for sure. Would love it.
Yeah, it's so far. I think.
Yeah, it is very and it would be it is very far. But I'm definitely into it. By the way, I gotta take a second if I may. To
You can
give
take
shout
a
out.
minutes if you want. How many minutes you want?
I can probably do. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
See how it goes.
Yeah,
Follow
if
you
have-
down
maybe
this
you're
road.
gonna
An
have
hour
questions.
52 left. Go
Maybe
ahead.
you're gonna have
Be my
questions.
guest.
It's a long time before the next level's next.
So yesterday, at the conclusion of this program, I went to Windmill Golf Center.
all right. I'm writing this
Great
down.
place.
So Gibbe knows about it. I had only heard about it. Just look at what is allowed to come through from my father, and that's. So I haven't clicked.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where.
Oh my God. What does that have to do with what you asked him?
Deflect, brother. Deflect. Don't look over here.
More over here.
Look over here. So I went to Windmill Golf Center, which I had never been to. Have you been there, Gibbe?
Oh yeah, I've hit golf balls. I played the little track that they got
Yeah, they got
there.
a little, like,
we used to
par 3 course, looks like.
we used to do golf show remotes there way back when I worked at ESPN Cleveland with the great Jimmy Hanlon.
Oh man, how about it?
Shout out, JH.
Yeah. So I went there to do a club fitting.
Okay.
And so you go and
Great
it's
place for it.
It's actually a pretty penny. You go and basically you get time in a bay. It's cool. They have an indoor bay with the TrackMan, but it opens like a garage door, and so
Okay.
you're actually hitting out. And my driver, the shaft had been like probably 10 years old, and the head was like is like a stealth. So I think it's 5 generations tailor made to go. Meanwhile, generations in golf is the way the kid likes it. Every year is a generation. That's how he thinks humans are as well.
He thinks kids are that human that way
Basically.
too.
Oh yeah,
Every
like,
year's
yeah,
a different
yeah,
generation.
different- basically,
Generational
like,
talent.
Yeah, they're like every.
Oh, what
yeah,
about
yeah,
the
well,
guy last year? Well,
no,
new
that's
generation.
different generation. Oh man, Pedro! Now I got the dots going.
He's really fired up now.
You shouldn't. We poked the bear a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I went in there and I was trying to get a new driver, and I haven't done a lot of stuff on TrackMan. I haven't gotten into launch angle and spin rate, and it turns out everything was really good on my old driver, except for the launch angle. I was too low. My launch angle kept coming out too low.
Okay.
And so,
what was your degree on that, if you don't mind?
I have a 10.5 degree driver.
Okay, currently.
Yeah, but there's something about the way that I come through it. Even though I tee it high and let it fly, I de-loft the driver at impact a little bit, so I have a low kind of just like a.
Yeah.
But these drivers are built to launch it higher, and you actually want to hit it a little higher on the face, and that makes it like really go.
Yeah.
And so we went through like probably 5 or 6 different driver heads, the Callaway, 2 different kinds of Callaway, 2 different kinds of TaylorMade, the Cobra, the Ping. There was
Titleist
another
probably
one.
in there.
Titleist was in there. Went through all these different driver heads, went through all these different shafts, lighter shaft, lower kick point, higher kick point, blah, 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 everything. And like they all were the same as my driver. Did not matter. Like
Really?
it was basically 105 club head speed, 155 ball speed, 250 carry, 275 total, which on a course I can hit it farther, but that's off the machine.
Off the machine, yeah.
And spin was perfect. Everything was good except the launch angle. We just could not get it. So then, now I'm starting to get like
You're
frustrated.
tired?
'Cause now I'm,
Are you
tired
winded
and
too?
I'm trying to like
Yeah.
lift the ball up into the air. I'm trying like all these different things, and nothing's working. So Alex, who was my guy, who I would recommend going and seeing Alex at Windmill, he's like, I got an idea. I'm going to bring it back. Don't look at it. Just hit it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. And in my mind, I know already what he's doing. I know he's gave me like a 12-degree driver or something like that, which he does. So he comes back in, and I'm not – listen, most players hit low, but I really compress the ball, so I must somehow be doing similar to that, and that's so it's de-locking my driver. And then he got me this shaft from Newton is the name of the shaft, a Newton 6-dot. And it's this beautiful shaft that can look blue, it can look green, it can look red. It's like iridescent.
Oh, gorgeous.
It's like actually
It's really going to pop.
very cool looking.
Yeah.
So he gives me that one, and then all of a sudden it is just like
rocket ship.
All of a sudden, club head speed is up like 5 miles an hour, ball speed's up 5 to 10, and now everything's flying 270 and going 295, 300. Like all of them. Like immediately, it was immediate 20 yards. Immediate.
Jeez. Good Lord.
And then it was just like, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to hit this one real hard. So I hit like 110, and I hit one like I think a 311 was the farthest one I got on their machine. But dude, it was just like after that, like all my drives have been going like this, and then this one was just like this. Like
Yeah.
rockets. So I ordered it.
Now, so it was a 12-degree.
So it's a 12-degree, and it's tipped down 1, so it's 11. So it's really only a half a degree higher than mine, but so it's that head, which is the new Callaway, the Elite they call it, and the regular one, that head, and then this Newton shaft. And this Newton shaft has this like technology where it like, I don't know how that does it. It's not alive, so it's not a computer, but it somehow senses your, I don't know, some crazy stuff. So it's like a cross between the Ventus shaft and there's some swing shaft that supposedly is magic, and it's like a cross between those, and it was totally, it just changed everything. And then I went back and wanted to hit mine again, and mine was the exact same as it was.
Right back to
and
where it
then
was.
I put this one down, same. And it just sounds like,
Sounds
it
sweet.
looks majestic. Yeah.
Cascading.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So it was really cool. And it's funny. I had talked to one of the big L luminaries who randomly texted me yesterday morning. Not randomly texted me, but randomly texted me yesterday morning. He's like, hey, have you heard of this windmill place? I'm like, as a matter of fact, I'm going there today.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let me know, what you think. So I gave him the full rundown this morning, and he's all juiced
He's
about
jacked
it.
up.
But like, I asked the guy, go for real, how often do you have like what I would call a success story like this, where it's just like, we found this one thing that is just, and then they send you like a whole printout of all the shots
All
you
the
hit
data.
on all the data, and it's like my driver's like this, pretty tight dispersion, and then this one was like this.
Just way out
Yeah, like my best one here wasn't even around like these
in the
ones.
vicinity. That's awesome. It's a very cool story. And I would also just say, like, as someone who sucks at golf, the difference in having your stuff fitted, if you can do it, versus just grabbing something, it's a big deal.
Huge.
It's a huge deal.
I mean, I saw it.
Just loft angle. I remember NBC got a driver out in the desert last year, and he hits it really far, but it was always something where he was hitting. He was kind of hitting them all kind of like deep and right, and they weren't like falling, and they just changed the degree on a Mizuno driver a half point or two, and it went from like this to like what you're talking about.
Because
like, it's
if
just a
you-
simple thing that like you go buy something off the shelf, you're not going to have that.
Adding a little loft to it actually closes the club face, even though that sounds counterintuitive. And taking a little loft off actually opens the club face a little bit. So they probably just added like half a degree, and that squared his club face a little more. So now
Now it
is
goes
straight.
Yeah. So
But
it's
anyway, it was
well worth
awesome.
it.
He said that it is, not necessarily. He said that
That's a
doesn't
pretty
happen every
extreme.
time.
Yeah.
And I think like it's more. I think if you have a higher swing speed, or if you have, things like that, they probably can find something that's exactly the perfect thing for you.
Yeah.
But it was really cool, and Alex was great. Everybody in there was great. Big Browns fans, and so it was great.
They know what they're doing, and like for like instruction, or if you just want to like work on your game, it's a fantastic place for like you can work on sand, you can work on
That's cool, man.
chipping. Like it's actually a really cool facility.
Yeah, I think that's a good job. So it's a
Yes.
win for everybody. Are we going to open that thing?
Yes, you should do
Has
it
that
on
been
the show.
has that been opened?
No. Oh, you think I'm opening it? I'm on this side of the glass.
So we got a box. This happens.
Yep.
Got a
You need
box.
scissors.
From Gray in Chardon, Ohio.
That's a fine town. We have some great humans from there. Okay.
Oh man,
It's wrapped.
Christmas gift wrapping too. Love that.
It's gonna be one of those like where they get like the person that like steals the gifts and then like just
Love it.
explodes and it's a glitter bomb.
Hopefully this one will.
What?
Gibbe. This
Gibbe.
one is for Gibbe.
Oh.
Gibbeh. Perfect.
Give it.
Gibbe.
I feel like you should open it in there for me.
Nope.
No, I think that's you.
That's you.
Yeah. Very nice.
Where's your stuff?
It's in here. Ours is much smaller, safer.
Much safer. Yeah.
Well, smaller.
Merely Bo, the Great Z, and Gibbe. Thank you guys for doing an awesome job on CBD. The best 2 hours of the day are 1 to 3 with you guys. These have been sitting around for too long. Sorry for the Christmas wrapping paper. I love it.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
great.
it.
Better
too.
late than never. Go Browns. Keep up the awesome work. David Gray, Dan Gray, Matt, and listeners.
David Gray, the singer, Babylon.
P.S. David is a CCM loan officer. We love the CCM Browns partnership. Well, we love it too.
Well, we
We're
love it
thankful
too.
for that. David, all right. Let's see this. This looks like a bow
Yeah.
and a
Very
me.
nice.
What did you get, Gibbe?
I don't know. I didn't
well,
open
get
it.
into it there, Gibbe. This feels like something.
opening
to do
it by
with,
Gabe.
Maybe a shot glass type.
Ooh,
thing, or
a seasoning.
Oh,
How about it?
the prime rib, baby.
Wait, is that the
Yeah.
stuff we've been talking about?
This is
the English prime rib rub.
This
This
is
is-
prime rib rub. This
it
is
is-
the Penzies.
It is necessary when you
Nice.
make the great prime rib. You have it on there.
What'd you
Thank
get
you
there,
very
Gibbe?
much. I will use that this Christmas.
Look at that.
The man knows that I got wronged before.
So that's
What
an
a
incredible callback. That's
is a
great
great
job of the
callback.
G-Man. Look at that.
Yes.
So if the loyal listeners know, Gibbe was gifted a pair of
Well, he
when
is
he was
Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh
Peapaw.
Peapaw.
It was.
Maybe
I mean, he
still
is.
He was gifted a pair of
No,
Steelers pajamas. Now he has the.
If you
appropriate-
wore those, you could almost like blend in. You could camouflage. Just blend
before on the
right in. It'd be
Look
hilarious.
at Arrested Development when he was in the Blue Man Group, and he would just be on a wall, like the lights are out and people are walking by, and Gibbe's just against the wall.
All right, so who
Where's
was that?
Gibbe? Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray.
Gibbe.
and-
Mr.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you
thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Very good, very
Yes, very good indeed.
The Browns have officially signed a player, wide receiver DeAndre Carter, to a 1-year contract. He'll be likely a return specialist. He's entering his 8th season, his 7th NFL team, an undrafted free agent out of Sac State by the Baltimore Ravens. He's been with the Texans, the Bears, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Commies, and the Eagles through the years. He has the 4th most kick return yards and 3rd most punt return yards among active NFL players. Last year with Chicago, Carter averaged 17 punts, 158 yards, just just under 10 and 15 kicks for a 31.9 average on that. He also had 117 career receptions. So a specialist.
You're going to smell it.
No, I did.
This is happy smells.
This
Of
is
course,
what
for
you
the Christmas prime rib, you
Christmas
have to.
prime
But I
rib,
just love getting a little whiff of that. A little, yeah. No, DeAndre Carter.
Oh, how about
I
this?
feel like
Bloody
it's
Marys.
I feel like it's like it's good in a Bloody Mary. It's like deja vu all over again. I feel like we ran this all down. I thought this was official, to be honest with you, 3 weeks ago.
Is it Penzies? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's right.
G-Man knows
G-Man
who
loves it.
He knows it. He's really
He
excited
knows
to
it,
do
yeah.
that. Yeah. So there you go.
Hey, speaking of food and whatnot, how's the Hoff?
So this morning I spent some time at first of all, it's great. So I don't know, the Hoff had his hip replaced.
Yeah.
Yesterday. By the way,
Happy 40th birthday.
it's Watch the Tape Tuesday, 2:30.
Oh, this
God,
is the
can't
trial
wait
of
for
Dr.
2:30.
J.
Can't wait for 2:30.
Trial of Dr.
So,
J is upcoming.
Hoff is here, and he's at he was right by my house, the UH facility nearby my domicile. I come in, and he gives me his room number, so I come in, and I'm like, I'm here to visit the person in the room.
Yep.
He's out of there now, so very quick turnaround, less than basically 24 hours, and he's
Crazy.
on his way,
New hip
walking
and you're
around.
on your way.
Yeah, he's doing
No big
great.
deal. Wow.
And they're like, was this like a VIP or something? Because there's no name listed. Does that seem right to you? And I'm like, as a matter of fact,
As a matter of fact, it does.
It does
Yeah.
seem right. So I went in there, got to hang out with the Hoff. He's doing great. He's thriving, doing very well. And it was great. I basically chilled with him for like 90 minutes, and we were just BSing in his room. He was getting him, hey, I'll have a few more of those pain meds. Have a good time here.
A little bit of that.
Yeah, a little bit of that. He ordered a tremendous sounding lunch, some short ribs. He got a niçoise salad and a cheesecake to wash it down. So he's been eating very well. He's very happy there. And
Who
so
gets
he's
that in a hospital.
the Hoff does. He had like a
God.
suite. His room was like from here to the top of the stairs. He had a beautiful view. It was great. He was really doing
As it should be.
Yeah, as it should be. Of course, it's appropriate.
Hoff.
So it was great. Great to see him doing well, and he
Is he
thanks
staying
everybody
here
for
then
his.
in town to rehab this?
No, he's
I'm assuming
flying
his wife
home.
and kids are in Wisconsin.
He's flying home tomorrow morning. He got in Sunday night late because of all the weather issues that you were battling, and had the surgery Monday morning, and he's going to be out of here tomorrow morning.
It's amazing how fast.
He was walking around in the room.
That.
We were hanging out. I was swinging his cane like a golf club. It was great.
If I were him, like the idea of a dignified cane would be pretty cool.
Well, I told him that. I said, "You need to step it up. We need something custom."
Yeah, I'm thinking like some sort of a silver gold handle. I maybe fashion
Maybe
with
a rich mahogany, like
or
a wood.
well, I'm saying the body of it is rich
and then a
mahogany, and
gold.
then a gold or
Yeah.
silver handle.
And
then I think what would be the animal that we would want kind of coming, because sometimes you see that as like
Yeah.
a snake or like
I think a lion.
a lion,
Yeah.
something like that.
And I told him he should be wearing his like Hoff smoking jacket, walking around with his cane.
of course, he should
G-Man
be
knows
wearing
how to
that.
drop in. He's like, it's got to be a badger.
Oh, badger smoke. Yeah, that'd be fine.
He always
with a
comes
bat-
in a
always
big way.
You always enter situations in a big
Big
way, G-man. Always. Yeah, I think. Well, a lot like the cane that Scott Glenn has in Lotus,
Yes,
like that type of
Formidable.
cane, a formidable cane. I could see me doing that old age,
yeah.
like going with a cane that could also be potentially a weapon.
well, it could be one of the ones where you pull it out and it's actually
Yeah.
a sword.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm in. I like Zorro, so that adds to that even more.
Totally,
Yeah.
certainly does.
The Athletics' Diana Rossini, quote, based on conversations I've been hearing, it would not be surprising to see Kirk Cousins end up in Cleveland.
Well, there's a lot to that, right?
Sure is.
And especially now, we're getting comments coming from
The Arthur Blank comments. today.
Arthur Blank saying, maybe we will trade him. Now, it does feel like it's a one-team market. Am I wrong?
Us in Pittsburgh. And it
But
feels like they're
Pittsburgh,
getting
now
Rodgers.
They're saying they're getting Rodgers.
Yeah, feels
Yeah.
like they're getting Rodgers. I just don't understand. I need somebody like Joel Corey or somebody like that to come on and explain to me how we could acquire him via trade and compensate him.
Yep.
Like I keep waiting for that. I asked in Atlanta Sunday, I'm like, you explain to me how this happens where we don't have to pay $28 million of his salary.
We don't.
Okay, so like they're going to have to cut him then. But like in a trade, how do they offset that to make it work? How would a trade even work for him? Is it a fifth? Is it a sixth? Like, what is it?
So if Kirk Cousins, this is from, I'm going to quote over the cap here. If Kirk Cousins was traded pre-June 1st,
Okay.
it would be $37.5 dead million to the
Falcons.
and it would cost us $2.5 million. He would cost us $2.5 million because he's got the stuff that is. He has 27 base salary. He got that $10 million guarantee this year. That happened when they paid that $10 million. And so it would be $37.5 million on dead money for them and $2.5 million for us. If it was post June 1st, it allows them to move things around. It becomes a much more significant savings for them. I don't know how that would affect us.
So it comes back to what we've been saying all along. Like, if they trade him and we seem to be the only suitor out there, I mean, unless there's something I'm missing, there's nobody else. Like, would he return to Minnesota? Would they want him as, like, insurance for J.J. McCarthy?
Try to see.
There's nobody else who has
He wouldn't
quarterbacks.
want to. I don't think he wants to go there.
Well, I wouldn't think so either. But just go through the league. Like, everybody else is locked in. I mean, I guess Tennessee, us, the Giants, and Pittsburgh are kind of like the ones that I guess
Yeah.
could acquire him, and they're all outdoor. None of them are dome, obviously.
No.
Some of them are quite inclement weather.
Yes. All right, this is from Mary Kay's article where she wrote about it. From the Falcons' perspective, paid him $90 million of his new contract last year, gave him a $10 million roster bonus 2 weeks ago as opposed to releasing him. If they let him go, they would have still been on the hook for $27.5 million base this year. A new team could have signed him for the veteran million of $1.25. Now the Falcons owe him $37.5 million this year and need some cap relief in a trade if they agree to let him go. The choice is between keeping as a backup at that price, which amounts to $100 million paid out over 2 years, or get something back from a team willing to shell out anywhere from $5 to $15 million in a trade. The new team would also take on the rest of his contract, including base salaries of $35 million in 26 and 27. If it were the Browns, they would likely restructure the contract, giving him another signing bonus, lower the bases, adding void years to spread out the cap. But then
we can't.
I don't know that we can do that. I really don't know if we could do that. It would be that would be tough. Now, his guaranteed money that would be left after this season, let me look at that real fast. This is again from overthecap.com, would be, it looks like he would still have 25, 35, 45 million in guaranteed money. But I don't know if I think we would take that on. Mm-hmm. I mean, his base salary would be $35 million in 26 and $35 million in 27 with only $10 million of guarantees. I'm sorry, $10 million of guaranteed at that point and $10 million roster bonuses in each of those 2 years. So I don't know. To me, the best case scenario would be they cut him, but I don't see why they would do that. So
I just don't know where they're going to get anything in return.
I don't know.
It seems like the other teams around it are all like if Tennessee wanted to acquire him, they would have. They haven't been in on any of these quarterbacks.
Nope.
None.
Which certainly makes you think they're taking Cam Ward.
Yes, it does. I've thought that all along. Like, if they're not
the combine,
in,
nobody thought it.
Nobody thought it. But it's liar's poker there. If you just look at like the behavior of the organization, they're either incredibly satisfied with Will Levis or they're drafting Cam Ward at 1.
They benched Will Levis for Mason Rudolph.
I know, because they've not been in on anybody who you could acquire.
No.
And they could have flipped it quick. Like they weren't in on Darnold. They weren't nothing.
No.
So to me, it looks like they're taking Cam Ward. And then from that point on, it's like, where else is there a landing spot? It seems like Pittsburgh's going to get Rodgers. That's us and the Giants.
That's the thing about
I don't know.
With Cousins is definitely Kirk Cousins is still a good quarterback. Obviously, brings some stability from that standpoint. I don't really see what it. It certainly is not a solution to the real problem, right? It's
no, it's a Band-Aid at best.
So the question then becomes, if you did that, you're trying to obviously improve your record immediately in the short term. Now, Kirk Cousins has been a 500 or worse quarterback in 4 of his last 5 seasons. Would you have believed that? I would not have believed that.
No.
7-9 in 2020 with Minnesota, 8-8 in 2021, 13-4 in 2022, 4-4 in 2023, Achilles tear, 7-7 last year. So he's literally been 500 or below in 4 of his last 5 seasons. And in fact, in his career as a starter, he has 9-7, 8-7-1, 7-9, 8-7-1, 10-5, 7-9, 8-8, 13-4, 4-4, 7-7. So really, if you look at it, he's only had 2 losing seasons, and those are 7-9s as a full-time starter in the NFL. Other than that, it's been basically 500 or a little bit over 500. He was 9 games over 500 in 2022. He's 9 games over 500 for his career. So outside of that, he's been very much a 500 quarterback. Now 500 would be better than 3-14
Sure would
for
be,
us.
yeah.
Again, everybody knows how I feel. I like Shedeur Sanders better than some. Now, we're going to have a guest today who is a big Shedeur Sanders fan and thinks he absolutely should go at the top of this draft. If you're not there, if you can't get Cam Ward, if that's off the table, and you're not a Shedeur person, that again goes back to, again, what do you have? You have Abdul Carter. Now, I think Abdul Carter, a lot of people think he's great. I wonder about his size as a 4-3 end in the AFC North. Clearly a talented elite pass rusher. That position, to me, you can never have enough good ones. I'd agree with that. I also don't think that's a massive need for us. And I think that if Abdul Carter was like an Aaron Donald, I think it'd no-brainer, because now you have that interior dominance to pair with your edge dominance, and I would love that. And then you have Travis Hunter, and I like Travis Hunter a lot. I think weapons. I think he's a receiver. I think you can get even a little bit extra out of him as well, playing some big high-leverage plays at corner. And then, then there's the trade-down scenario. It's just we're in this situation. Again, though, the only path out of this, and I think we've seen the Browns do this so many times, and we may very well do it again, and it doesn't mean that, history is going to repeat itself, but let's say that we don't take a Shedeur and we end up, going either late in the first round or early second on a Dart or a Shuck. I really don't think Milroe would be in our offense, but historically that hasn't necessarily worked out all that well. But it's either that or you're saying we bring in a Kirk Cousins, figure out the economics of that. We've got Kenny Pickett, and then we draft a Will Howard or a McCord in the third or the fourth, and try to load up as many quality players as we can. I still think it's important to me, Nathan Zagura, to turn this offense around. That to me is the most important thing facing the Cleveland Browns, is to turn the offense around. And, you have an opportunity. That's why I wasn't joking at the combine when I was like, quarterback, weapon, or tackle at some point in there. I mean, heck, at this point, if Jed Wills hasn't signed anywhere, this guy started almost 60 games. He's 25, 26 years old, was a 10th overall pick, was an all-rookie performer. Did it work out here? Nope. Maybe he's been humbled now, and maybe it's gives him the fire in his belly to be great. Bring him back.
Yeah.
It can't be expensive. By the way, bring Nick Chubb back. And then all of a sudden, now you got Nick Chubb, you got Ford, you bring in a young rookie on the rookie contract. I just think we could turn this offense around real quickly. And the only way kind of out of our scenario that, Jimmy Haslam talked about yesterday is to have a quarterback on a rookie contract be good.
That's it.
And you can't get that without trying. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think he's worthy of the number 2 pick because I take him at number 2. It's going to make him automatically good. But there are enough people, at least whose opinions I respect, that definitely think he could be that level of a quarterback.
I think I mentioned this about a month ago. I think there are so many people out there that are, you just mentioned Jed Wills. Jed Wills, he's not here anymore. He was not offered another contract. He's still a free agent. That is not what you think a first-round pick should be.
Right.
You pick up a tackle in the first round, the idea is they start for a decade plus, and they're your left tackle for a decade. You're not entitled to the Hoff, but you should be a starting left tackle for a decade. But these things are hard. I mean, the Bengals missed on a bunch of these guys on the offensive line in the last decade or so. So it's hard to identify those. But it doesn't end up on the name on the back of a jersey.
Yep.
There is an embarrassment that is associated with missing at quarterback that is hard to swallow. that is not hard to swallow at every other position, and I don't know why, because the economic
It's not anymore.
punishment
It's the
of
same.
drafting a quarterback is not any different than the economic punishment of drafting a left tackle.
Yep.
It's not. There was a time it was. There was a time it crippled an organization if you miss on a quarterback.
Yep.
Crippled it. It doesn't anymore. You can pivot off of it in a hurry and on to somebody else. It's a 2-year window. If it didn't work, identify another one and go again. Because if you don't have one, you got nothing.
Yes.
And that's it.
That is it. You are not wrong. I couldn't agree with you more. I agree that you can't force it.
No.
But if you believe, then do it.
Yeah.
That's the only path out of this to real immediate and long-term viability.
The thing you see a lot is like, okay, draft Travis Hunter at 3 and then come back in at the bottom of the first round and draft to Shador. If you're going to come into the second at the back of the first round and draft Shador, then he's worthy of being a pick at 2.
Totally.
Like, just that's it. You need to have the guy.
Yes.
And if you don't think any of them are, fine. That to me is don't force it.
Fine.
If you don't think any of them are a franchise, and none of them are starters,
But
fine,
the idea of giving
then
up
don't.
multiple assets to then come back into the first round seems wild to me.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. We'll go around the league coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today, get 50 back in bonus bets. You place your first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet is official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to go around the league, presented by Leaf Filter, official gutter guard of your Cleveland Browns. We have some reporting from around the league, some rule changes. There were not enough votes to ban the tush push. It has been tabled.
Good.
I was reading this morning that when they table it, it means that maybe they could do it again when they meet in May or something.
Yeah, there's another series of meetings.
Yeah.
And then they could also do it, I think, in the fall.
But they're not
The
close.
fall
Like
or-
they're like
yeah,
they're like
correct.
8 votes short of that getting done. The NFL's kickoff proposal was separated into 2 votes today, one which passed, one which was tabled. The ball will now be placed at the 35 instead of the 30-yard line on the new kick. So when it goes out of bounds, you get 5 extra yards. I don't think that
Touchback.
changes anything on a touchback.
They
5
wanted
yards.
to. They wanted to at some
Okay,
point.
what's the yardage number that would make it change?
They should just say,
No touchbacks.
but how can they do that? You kick it out of the end zone. What would you do?
Penalty. Make the penalty ball at the 50.
So then there you go.
I think it's the 50. I don't think the 35 does much.
I mean, 35
35 to the 30. Yeah.
35, you need to get 30 yards to have be in field goal range. That's it. When you
Yeah.
started at the 20, 30 yards got you to 50.
Right.
So that is rather significant.
But it didn't change much, and it went 10 whole yards last year.
Yeah.
Like, it did. Let's be honest. The rule did not have the impact that people thought.
No.
No.
It didn't. I mean, we thought it was going to have, like,
It was
remember how
not
excited
dynamic.
we were about it? We thought, no, it was not, Gibbe. We had that conversation last year in spring, like, when we had
We had Bubba in here.
Bubba in here, and we were talking about how exciting it was and what type of things it was going to change. And the reality is,
Not much.
how much?
They should just say you must kick. Kickers are good enough. You must kick the ball and land it between the 20 and the goal line. You have a 20-yard window. And anything that lands in the end zone is
That's what I think
you
it's
get
got-
at the 50.
I think it's the 50. That's what I was saying. I think it's got to be
Then
so
there will be
punitive,
a kick every single time.
and then you'll have returns. The ball at the 50, that'll make you think. No one wants that, so kick it deep and have a return.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Or-
the coverage of it was so
How about we do this?
comprehensive. Nobody broke anything.
How about you back the kicker up to
That's
the
what G-Man's been saying.
10?
Well, that would do it too. Yeah, you could just move him back.
Move
and
the
just-
kicker back
just
so
get
they
rid of
can't kick it to the end
Just
zone.
get rid of the touchback entirely.
Yeah.
Just take it out of the equation. Have him. What would be the yardage? Would it be like at the 20? Would that do it?
Dude, what about the 10?
And then, well, yeah, then it probably lands at the 20, the other 20. Then would you
Well, then you
keep
can
them
move it
close
up.
together?
You'd move it up then. Yeah, keep them close together. You'd have
go
to keep
through
them
that.
close
Yeah.
together. But just that way, that's where it's got to be.
Then you have return. I think
Keep
that's
the
only-
coverage at the setup at the same
Yeah,
line.
keep
Yeah,
the setup.
keep that
Yeah.
up the same way, and then just use. Then you got. It's got to land in bounds. Yeah, I think they keep trying to monkey with this to get kick returns. I don't think 5 yards is going to change.
So I just want to think if you back it up to the point where like they can't, there it is.
Now, what is the onside kick modification that they were hoping to do? Do you know what this is? How are they changing it?
That's shot down.
It says it's tabled. It's
Tabled.
Pick back up. And
I'm pretty sure that was the one where you could have a play, where you could like have a play for.
It was
it'd be
either
like a
that or
fourth
you
and
could
20.
only,
It was
like they
a
were
20
trying to
you
get
need
it so you
20
could do
yards
it
in one play.
outside of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I don't know. The Lions had a proposal to eliminate automatic first downs on defensive holdings and illegal contact penalties. Did not have enough votes to pass.
I think that should pass.
So you think that shouldn't be automatic first down on defensive holding? I guess the counter would be then all you would do is hold on every play.
I think if the holding occurs past the first down marker, it's an automatic first down.
Oh, yeah.
If it's 3rd and 25 and a guy gets held 6 yards down the field,
Oh, okay.
you shouldn't get a first down
You need eye in the sky for that because you need quick.
to know where it is.
know where
But
it is.
That's what I think it is.
Eye in the sky would solve that. Then you get quick answers on it. The penalty was here. It's 5 yards. Go.
Yeah.
Away
You
we
get
go.
5 yards.
Yeah. That I think if you had eye in the sky, I think that would work. But I think the referees, it's way too complicated for them to know when it occurred and where.
Like on any holding on 3rd and 4, regardless of where it occurred, is going to be a first down because it's 5
Right,
yards.
5 yards. Yeah.
But if it's longer than that, the hold would have to occur at or beyond the first down marker for it to be an automatic first down. Otherwise, it's 5 yards and you do the play again.
The proposal to expand replay assist was approved by the owners. Owners also voted to pass a rule that allows both teams to possess the ball in overtime during the regular season. All right, let me just play this out with you. 10-minute overtime now instead of 15. Both teams get the ball. They're guaranteed to get the ball. Let's say all 10 minutes come off the clock on one drive. Is the next drive untimed?
I would guess so.
Or if they take 9 minutes and 20 seconds off the clock and the other team gets 40 seconds, do they only get 40 seconds, or is that drive untimed?
It should just be untimed. If everybody gets to have one possession, then
It should just be college, and then it's done.
I know they don't want to do that because of the stats. It should just be you get the ball, and then they get
You
the
get
ball.
the ball in one possession, I get the ball in one possession, that's it.
That's it. And if it's not over by then, it's tie.
Just turn off the stats is what I always say.
Yeah.
Just stop it. Stop the stats in regulation, then you're done.
So going back, by the way, to that the replay assist, the proposal called for adding fouls for hits on defenseless players, grabbing the face mask, performing a horse collar tackle, tripping, running into or roughing the kicker to be covered by the process. Replay assist will now be able to be used to pick up flags thrown for those infractions, as long as there is clear evidence on video that on-field officials erred by calling the penalties. The change does not allow for flags to be thrown, so similarly clear evidence of an uncalled face mask or horse collar tackle will not result in a penalty. Did you get
All anybody wants is they want
Just get it right.
We just want it done right quickly.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
We want the rules enforced. We want it done in an expedited manner, the opposite of what you see in March Madness, where these idiots go to the booth every 10
that's
seconds.
where I was going.
Yep.
That's
because
awful.
It's been awful to watch down the stretch.
It's terrible.
Terrible.
They review everything.
Yeah.
It's absurd. It takes all the drama out of it. And by the way, if you're going to live in that world, then I think 3 timeouts whole game per team. A total of 3.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a timeout.
Because that's a timeout. All the clock stoppages for commercials or timeouts, keep it moving. And that's one thing that they got to make sure that they do. The Lions' proposal to change the playoff seeding based on record has been tabled.
That's garbage.
So this would eliminate the divisional champion.
Yes, you win a division, you get a home game. That's just the way it works. There aren't the same people don't. Different divisions do not play the same schedule. They just don't. So it's not. Records are not necessarily apples to apples.
And I don't know that it's even that big of a deal. Like, how many of those teams that have won those AFC, NFC South, those 2 garbage divisions, how many of those teams have made long runs in the postseason based on having home field in the first round?
They don't.
It just doesn't happen. I don't know that.
But it's nice for their fans.
It's nice for their fans, yeah. The Steelers' proposal regarding contact with free agents during the negotiating window passed with some modification on a 1-year trial. Teams can now have 1 video or phone call with no more than 5 prospective. Oh, God. I can't even read that without laughing. How are you going to adjudicate that?
How are you policing that?
How are you policing it? It's all done by agents anyway.
Correct. Now,
I do think legal tampering is the stupidest thing ever.
Make it.
Just make it free agents.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do have another addition that's been made here in the last few minutes. The NFL, I thought this was interesting. The NFL's official records are going to finally incorporate the All-American Football Conference.
Yeah. We're champions, baby.
Big for us.
Huge.
That should have been.
Take
Paul
that.
Brown goes from 21st to 7th.
All-time
This is
wins.
altering the record book.
Yeah, it should.
Pretty dramatic.
In the words of the great Content Browns, take some of that, Bengals.
All of a sudden, our championship list is going to expand dramatically.
Big champions.
Some of the other noticeable changes, Marion Motley will now be 4th on the list of highest career rushing average with 5.7 yards per carry.
How about it?
Can you name me the 3 that are ahead of him?
5
yards per carry?
Yards per carry.
Yards per carry, highest career rushing average.
I would say Barry Sanders. No?
No.
Jim Brown?
So ahead of him.
Don't say it.
No. I know. I'm making sure that I've got the verbiage right.
Yards per carry leaders NFL history.
Jamal
and there's got to
Charles.
be a minimum. He would be.
Highest career
be.
rushing average.
He's number 1, Jamal Charles.
Jamal Charles?
No. Can I give you a hint?
Please.
There's
We're
no running
floundering.
backs except for Mary Motley.
Okay. All right. So that's a different
It's
conversation.
a different game. Jamal Charles, I know, is the highest. I think Well,
So
now
then
with Marion Motley, but
non-running backs.
who cares? It's dumb. Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson.
Michael Vick's number 1 with
There you go.
7.
Lamar Jackson.
is third at 6.1.
Steve Young.
Hall of Famer.
Wanted that for him. That's it.
Champion.
Justin Fields.
Okay, now you're done. Now you're being stupid.
Well, no, I thought there was
Justin
a chance
Fields had
that
a year where he had a
high-
1,300-yard year or something like that.
Yeah. Who is it? Who's the list?
Randall Cunningham.
Oh, Randall.
You're just being stupid. That was insulting, dude.
That was.
Take that back.
He will
Okay,
never.
I'll take it back. The 48 San Francisco 49ers amassed 3,663 yards rushing, which
By the way,
puts them in first place all time over the 2019 Ratbirds.
Hey, pal.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Justin Fields had an 1,100-yard season and averages over 6 yards a carry for his career. By the way, it was brought down by Simon Pittsburgh. Before Pittsburgh, it was 6.2 yards a carry. What was the cutoff?
Well, Motley was 5.7, I thought you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gibby. So check yourself because you just wrecked yourself.
Not according to this article.
All right. I'm told we're going to have a little bit of fun coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Welcome back, Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Let's get some perspective on this draft. We had him on the Twisted Tea hotline, presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it Twisted Cleveland. He is Emory Hunt, founder of the Football Game Plan and football analyst at CBS Sports, and he joins us there. Emory, thank you so much for taking the time. Let me just start before we get into the individual players and your thoughts on the quarterbacks and all of that. Take us through your process and how you decide and rate these players. How do you get to the conclusion that you get to with your 2025 draft prospect guide, which drops on April 7th?
Listen, man, first of all, I appreciate you guys bringing me on. It's like a labor of love because I go to all of these all-star games, all 8 to be exact, and so I have that information. I don't get started into the draft process until January, but I'm on the road the whole month at these all-star games. Then I come back into the film room and I pour through 3 games for each prospect, just marching through quarterbacks first and running backs and so on and so forth before I formulate this grade. So I've either seen them live in conjunction with 3 games of film before I put together this massive draft guide.
When you are going through kind of let's start with the quarterback position. What is it that you are looking for from those prospects that say, okay, this translates, this is why they can succeed at the next level?
That's a great question because a lot of times folks tend to focus on the physical stuff, but we know that the quarterback position, especially at that level, is about how well do you handle critical and crucial situations. And so situational football is where I go to first. You're talking about third down offense, backed up offense, red zone offense, end of game situations, need to have it situations. How do you handle pressure, not just physical pressure from the defense, but situational pressure? Like, hey, man, this is a big part of the game. Can you convert? Those moments tend to separate guys that are the top-tier quarterbacks from guys that just play the position. And we've all seen guys that just play the position. There's nothing wrong with that. But just know if you have someone that excels in those critical moments, that's the type of guy that you want on your football team at that position.
Emory, when you talk about quarterback, I think it's probably the hardest thing to do in professional sports is land it. There's such a wide array of opinion on the position from a year in, year out, from a draft standpoint. The talent rarely equates in college football, right? There aren't that many games that every given team plays where the talent equates. So I always try to look at the talent equate games. And then I think about, well, what's more important, how they play in structure or how they play out of structure? How do you weigh all of those things when evaluating the quarterback position?
When you look at what translates, you got to look at that's why I think the situational football part matters the most for me, because we know with the wide hash marks, and you can just watch how Tennessee plays football, right? You can't really get nothing out of Tennessee's football team because they spread the field so much. It makes it easier for the quarterbacks to operate. But when you are in a game, a ball game, a dog fight, so to speak, you start to see who can do what when the pressure level is high. And that's the NFL week in, week out. And if you can't make quick decisions or know where to go with the football or have an answer for what they throw at you, then you kind of can see, okay, this guy is more of a solid college player, or this guy is ready to play in the pro game. And being ready to play in the pro game doesn't necessarily mean you have the best physical tools. Now, if you have the physical tools along with the situational football part, that's how you have success. That's why I was so high on Patrick Mahomes coming out of Texas Tech. I had a first-round grade on him. He was 1B to Deshaun Watson's 1A. That draft class. That's why I was high on Lamar Jackson as my number 1 quarterback in 2018 because of those attributes that you combine what he does physically with what he did situationally, or what these guys tend to do situationally. That's where you have the right one that you can lean on for about a decade.
So those were ones, obviously, that went well. Was there something or maybe changes in the league landscape and the way that offense or defense is played where there was one that maybe over the last 5 years, 6 years that you didn't get right, but that you've learned something valuable from that you apply forward now and it's helped you be better?
I was and I will say this, in that 2017 class, I had it Watson, Mahomes, and Kaiser.
Yep.
And so big Kaiser fan, and I was at the Notre Dame Temple game that year, was big on how he was able to really get that one home for Notre Dame. And then I was out there that summer for training camp when he was with the Browns, and it was kind of like, okay, you see him working through being a backup en route to the starter, but then you can kind of see where maybe things got a little bit too big for him, and that's why he had those red zone turnovers. And he kind of like, everything else between the 20s is fine.
Yep.
It's just that when he gets inside of the zone, he gives the ball back to the other team. You can't do that. And so it's like, okay, what can I tweak here? And for me, it was about tweaking the expectation of a rookie, thinking that everybody could just jump in and just do great, and also really focusing in on how important it is situational football. Then you went back and look at how he played at Notre Dame, and it was like the certain games he played. You just can't focus on the one game that you saw live. You got to go back and really dig into other aspects of the play. And so I probably spend a little bit more time now on quarterbacks as opposed to other positions based off what I learned from that particular quarterback in that particular class.
I would also say that part of that is your evaluation of him, by the way, could have been spot on. He was put in one of the worst situations imaginable for a quarterback. When you think about the supporting cast, I mean, I was here. I obviously worked for the team. That was a very tough situation that would probably make it difficult for anybody to have had success. I like Deshaun too, and I think that season really, unfortunately, kind of rocked him and derailed. He had the size, he had the arm, he had a lot of potential. He was a good kid, but
you never know. Like if he goes to Green Bay and he sits for 3 years,
you have no idea. He could have been
totally different.
Could have been very different. All right, you mentioned that for quarterbacks. Look, we all know it. The Browns need a quarterback. I think they've been given a life raft here by the National Football League with the second pick in this draft. So break it down for us. Would you take a quarterback at 2? Are there 2 quarterbacks in this draft that you think are worthy of that pick?
Absolutely, man. It doesn't matter. I've been joking all across CBS Sports throughout this whole process, saying when they ask this question or whatever show I'm on, who would you take? And I'm like, give me Shador Ward or Cam Sanders. Any one of those dudes will work. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you combine the two, you got a good quarterback. But the thing is, either one on their own are outstanding QBs. And that's something that I've been steadfast on from Jump Street because I cover a lot of FCS football. So I've seen both of those guys exclusively, probably more than most down at that level.
Yep.
And, I was glad that someone like Cam Ward transferred up because it was like, man, I hope they don't try to small college, shoo away this dude because he's actually really doggone good. So it was good to see him transfer to Washington State and then to Miami. And for Shador, at first it was funny because I had never seen him play high school ball, so I just assumed him going to Jackson State was probably going to be on some daddy ball type stuff where he's probably not that good, but as a head coach, he's going to start. And so after the first game, I'm like, all right, that's no solid game for him. And then the next game, I'm like, wow, he's actually making really good decisions with the football. And by the midway part of that freshman season, I'm like, this dude is playing like a senior, and he's a true freshman. And so I'm glad he went to Colorado because you see his body kind of thicken out a little bit. He was rather lean at Jackson State. And so watching how both guys operated in those critical moments, Shador never lost a conference game, got his team to back-to-back Celebration Bowls. Cam Ward got his team to the postseason at Incarnate Word. So seeing those guys carry those football teams, regardless of what's around them, but you saw them elevate their play. Even if they lost a game, it wasn't because the offense didn't score the ball back or score the ball and didn't get the ball back to the defense. It was the defense that gave up a late touchdown. So those things kind of showed me that these two dudes have what it takes to really succeed. Doesn't matter if you want them number 1 or number 2. I think both are clear-cut top QB prospects and would have been in any draft class. If you want to go back to last year, they would have been within that mix of the top 3. So these are really good prospects. I don't know what the public decry is from either one of these dudes because they're both legit first-round guys.
I think it's so much is on Shador with this. Like we keep saying, like what has changed?
It's wild.
It's crazy. Like his workouts Friday. Like Browns are going to be out there at it, going to meet with him. All those things. But like he hasn't thrown, he hasn't done anything. He just met with some people at the combine, and that's it. And he went from he's in the mix at number 1, number 2 to now I don't know if he's a first rounder. It just seems nonsense.
Well, the Titans listed him as one of the 4 people they're considering
so
at number 1.
It's hard to separate the fact from the fiction here. is it fair to say from your perspective, Emory, that the difference between Ward, they're stylistically very different. Nathan did a full breakdown on them. Well, I watched a ton of games of both of them. So in terms of their physical differences, the way they go about the game, very, very different. You're making a choice one way or the other if you're choosing between the two of them. But in terms of their ceiling, the two of those are similar. And then is there a gap between 2 and 3? Because one thing that it seems to have happened in the last month is that people try to take Shedeur out of that group and put him more with like the Jackson Dart group. Is that fair? How do you see it?
That whole Jackson Dart thing has been fascinating for me, because if you had Jackson Dart as QB1 in October, I would respect that. Like, you know what? You planting your flag in the ground. No one was talking about this dude in October until after the season, after the one bowl game where we're all sitting at home watching, football on midweek TV in December, and he throws a Zach Wilson pass against Duke in a bowl game, and then next thing you know, everybody starts to one-up that throw, and they've hyped him up to be a first-round quarterback. And there's no disrespect to Jackson Dart. He didn't ask for all this. But I will say right now my grades are on Shedeur and Cam. They're high 80s. And my number 3 quarterback, which is Jalen Milroe, has a 77. So that is the gap between those two and number 3. And Milroe will be the only one you could probably twist my arm to say take in round 1 because of the physical tools and how he worked to get better every year at Alabama. And we've seen him handle situational football rather well. I keep going back to that 4th and forever play against Auburn when he throws a dart deep down the field, back corner of the end zone, perfectly to Isaiah Bond for the touchdown and game winner and gets them into the postseason. And we talk about critical situations for Jackson Dart. The last 2 minutes of the Florida game where he threw 3 interceptions, I've never seen that in all my years of watching football. So there is a gap between 1 and 2. That's why I think the Browns can't lose with either one that's going to be there when they get on the clock.
Why do you think, and I agree, I think I love Shedeur, and I love Shedeur for this offense. I think the things that he does really well fit very well with what Kevin Stefanski wants a quarterback to do. And so I've been that's where my mind's been all along. If somehow Abdul goes number 1 or Travis Hunter goes 1 and they don't take a quarterback, or you trade up to 1, and if you want Cam, I'm fine with that too. But because of his physical gifts, but I just think Shedeur is so good. How much are you just kind of surprised that there are people? What would be your thought process as to, you don't see it that way, I don't see it that way, but for people, like, why would people see him, if they do, as a second-round quarterback?
Because they don't like Deion Sanders. That's it.
I think you're right.
That's essentially all this is. Because at the end of the day, these are layups. This is like one of these layup evaluations. It's funny because last year it was all about, well, can you play in structure? Can you play within the pocket? You got to be able to win from the pocket. Okay, cool. Now this year you get that exact type prospect.
That's what Shedeur does.
All of a sudden, exactly. And now it's like, oh well, can you play off script? Well, you got to be mobile. Like, wait a minute, I can't keep up. Like, make it make sense for me. Which one is going to be? Because if you look at what you're asking a quarterback to do, down and down out, and also protect the doggone football. I mean, this is a slam dunk. It's like we're watching 2 separate games, but I think it all boils down to folks really just have a disdain for Deion Sanders and his style that they're taking it out on Shedeur.
I think you're right.
I think, to me, the tape is the tape, right?
Tape's
and,
the tape.
You're hearing, and I've even heard, and you and I, Emory, certainly see this very similarly, but, you're getting to the point now where he hasn't played football, talking about Jackson Dart, and some people are like, Jackson Dart maybe should go ahead of Shedeur, so I spent I was just on vacation down in Nashville. I watched 6 games of Jackson Dart's, and certainly there are some good throws. Like, you watch the Arkansas game, you're like, oh, wow, yeah, it's great. Mm-hmm. But that was really his only, what I would call, really good game in the SEC, full stop. And there are the first 3 plays against Georgia, the end of the game against Florida. The first 3 plays against Georgia, you're like, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah.
Now, they went on to win that game, but it's just the picks against LSU at the end was a horrible pick against LSU. I see like some things that you could like, and to me, he's kind of like in his best, and I know he doesn't have the arm, but for some reason, he reminds me a little bit of like Jay Cutler, but he can't throw it like Jay Cutler, so I don't know. It confused me a little. To me, Shedeur is just so head and shoulders above that, and I think people are overthinking it. I don't know. It's strange.
Well, this is the part, and I'm glad you brought up that Georgia game, because that's what I brought up to someone else, I was like, well, listen, if it wasn't for he started a game horribly.
The first 3 plays
then
are crazy.
Yeah.
Backup came in and went right down the field. It was like, so naturally, if you're a dart, he's like, oh, I can't get Wally pipped by this guy.
Yep.
So he gets his bearings together, goes back out there and plays lights out. You kind of want him to bottle up whatever went on from when he got knocked out to when he got back in the game. Play like that all throughout the season, because a lot of the season was like the first series of the game against Georgia as opposed to the latter part. And so,
yeah.
But with Shedeur, you're getting someone that has been battle-tested, that has been the spotlight kid, and he's playing a spotlight position, and he's the last one left. There's no more Sanders' sons out there to play football, so he has to make it. And the fact that he was actually, playing really well within the offense, many different offenses he had gone through in college, and came out on top, leaving college football as the highest rated completion percentage in FBS history in just 2 years of FBS ball, says a lot.
It's interesting that people act like he doesn't throw the ball down the field, and he has many throws of more than 20 yards in the air, I think, as Cam Ward did. Mm-hmm. And so he does. I'm with you. I'm a big fan. So in my world, you get Shedeur at 2, and then 33, Emory, want to just real quickly ask your opinion on, it's clearly weapons in this league. You've got to be able to score. Who are some of your favorite guys that could be available around 33 for the Browns in that, whether it's running back, wide receiver, tight end, just as a weapon to then help your young quarterback?
I love points. And so, Travion Henderson is someone that can get the ball to the painted area very quickly. And I thought he put it all together this year. So, everything ties in perfectly with him. And he also is great in pass pro. So he would be one. And if teams are dumb enough to allow Luther Burden to fall out the first round, he would be another one that I want. He's one of those guys that's just a bully out there on the field in a great way. Another one has a great sense of timing. So, again, stockpiling weapons around it. And here's what Shedeur will have more so than he had in college. The first day he steps on the field in the NFL is a run game, because they didn't run at all in Colorado. So, so I'm saying, so he's going to have a better run game with added weapons that they can add in rounds 2 through whatever. And, Henderson would be a great get at running back. Burden could be one of these wide receivers. I'm a big fan of what he brings to the table. Urasek at tight end, another, move piece that was more of the blocker at Georgia. But at Stanford, he was looking like the next receiving tight end. And he just went to Georgia and started blocking. So it helps him out long term. But, man, there are some options out here for really Cleveland to revamp this offense moving forward.
All right, you spent a lot of time, obviously, on the quarterback position. So we're going to go back a few years because the Browns have another first-round quarterback on their roster, Kenny Pickett. What did you think of Kenny Pickett coming out? And is he somebody that maybe in this offense with Kevin Stefanski you think could maximize whatever ceiling you think he has?
That year, my number one quarterback was Malik Willis, and I had a grade of about 79 on him. So I didn't have anyone that year with a first round grade. So
okay.
Willis was number one at that position. Pickett, I had a grade of like 74.
Okay.
So that's essentially around like a third-ish, fourth round grade. Wasn't a big fan of his because I felt like he was, he had 5 years or 4 years of football, then had the one breakout last year, his fifth season. I felt like he was streaky. And you can't be streaky and be a consistent starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, you hope he's kind of reined that in, and you got a glimpse of that streakiness in the game he had against Washington with Philly last year. It was great early, and then helped Washington stay in the game. And so that's the type of things you want to see him erase, but he also has to stay healthy. That's the same issue I have with another quarterback in this class in Quinn Ewers, who will put together some good tape, but then gets hurt and then puts together a string of bad games, and then you constantly have to restart the whole process with him because he's always banged up. Same thing with Kenny Pickett.
His name is Emory Hunt. His 2025 Draft Prospect Guide drops on April 7th. You can pre-order it right now at footballgameplan.com/2025 Draft Guide. Incredible conversation. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all bringing me on.
All right, thank you. Emory Hunt, founder of the Football Game Plan of CBS Sports. He joined on the Twisted Tea Hotline, presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. We got a little fun in terms of Andrew Luck's draft status and ESPN's 30th anniversary. We'll have some fun with that coming up next. And we still have the trial of Dr. J ahead as well. We'll see how that goes. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. The car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury. Call their injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK, Ohio for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Choose your own adventure, Gibbe or G-Man.
For this?
Yeah, what do you guys want to do? I can go in either. We can go in either direction.
G-Man came up with a segment,
G-Man,
so
go.
I'm sliding to the left.
Go, G-Man, go. Come up in a big way.
G-Man.
Hi. So Andrew Luck, general manager of the Stanford Cardinal. That's what we're calling him now, the
Yep.
commander-in-chief. He was taken first overall in 2012.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, he was.
Would you take, as a prospect, Andrew
Yeah.
Luck or the first pick in every draft following that? So
as a
2013,
prospect?
As a prospect.
All right, I think we should do it two ways. One, we'll do it as a prospect.
Hold on, are you saying like I get all of these guys or just Andrew Luck?
No. Andrew Luck or
versus that person.
or that
God.
year.
Oh, yeah.
Luck or
Go.
the guy in that year.
Go.
So it's 2013.
How do you want to do it two ways?
So I was going to say two ways. Do it as a prospect.
And then
I think
what
it's-
we know now?
And then knowing you get him you get 6 years.
Okay.
You get 6 years of Andrew Luck.
Okay.
So 6 years of Andrew Luck or 2013 Central Michigan tackle Eric Fisher.
I think Andrew Luck you take as a prospect over every single person on this list.
I agree.
Without question.
Yeah, that's why. So I think
So then-
Andrew Luck, that's what makes like what we're doing right now with these quarterbacks. The reality is that Andrew Luck was the surest thing since Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning was up for some debate when he came out. Luck, there really wasn't.
Well, and then he was on the field.
So this all stemmed from something
was a
that I
sure
saw
thing.
on Twitter. The original post was, would you take, if you had to draft Andrew Luck or Joe Burrow, who are you taking? Like, it's Luck by a mile. And
As
everyone's
prospects, it's-
everyone's saying Burrow.
No.
Gibbe's saying Burrow.
As
No, it's Luck as a
prospects, it's
prospect.
Luck.
It's
not even
not
close.
even close as a prospect.
Not even
No,
close.
No. As a prospect, it's Luck.
And by the
Luck
way,
I don't even know if Burrow goes. If as a prospect, I'm not sure if Burrow's in the Lawrence draft if he goes one. I don't know. I don't know that for sure. Like he's probably as a true prospect. I would say Burrow's probably. It's hard because it's impossible not to eliminate the intellectual property of knowing what he is now. So try to put yourself back into what he was coming out,
yeah.
not what you see him as now. And seeing in terms of what he was coming out, we were at the combine when Burrow went one. We were at that combine. That was the last one we were at. We were at the combine last year when Caleb went one. People were talking more passionately about Caleb as a no-brainer number one than they were
Than
Burrow at one.
Yeah.
A lot of the conversation around Burrow in 2020 was, well, he's an Ohio kid. The Bengals have the pick. But there were people who thought maybe Herbert. There was Tua. Like it wasn't like, but it was because it was Cincinnati.
And there was all Chase and Jefferson and he was
No, I think even Caleb Williams as a prospect to the people who do this for a living felt like they were more effusive of their praise of him than they were Burrow.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Fair.
We were at the combine
Yes.
for both.
Yes.
Since Andrew Luck.
Because there were
The
questions
other-
about Burrow's physical gifts.
Yeah,
Like his
can he-
arm
is
and
his
all of
arm
that. And
strong
that's why Emory Hunt.
Trevor Lawrence
We
was
just had
probably
thinks
the
that
next surest
Shadour's
thing
like
after
Burrow.
Andrew Luck.
I
Yes,
agree with that.
That
I think,
is fair.
I think
From
Lawrence
a prospect.
Lawrence and Luck were the only two that when you went into the draft process, you said, okay, well, they're going number one. Now what? Luck's the only one people actually actively tanked for.
Yep.
The Bengals kind of did at the end, but like the Colts, when Manning went down, they said, we're all in.
All in.
Yeah.
Curtis Painter.
That's
Crazy.
right. Cradle of quarterbacks, baby.
Unbelievable. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. Luck. He's going to go all the way down.
mean, you take Luck over Fisher. You take Luck over Clowney.
Of course.
Luck over Jameis.
Yeah.
Over
Jameis
Goff.
there was a lot of love on Jameis in that.
Yeah,
that
there
year
was.
that he
Yes.
went one too.
I think the worries with Jameis were the non-football related things.
Correct. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I think there's no question we talked about Luck. I would take the 6 years of Andrew Luck right now over anybody on this list except I think Burrow. Because Burrow, we don't know that he could still play more than 6 years. But I mean, like Luck's 6 years are.
They're
He was on a Hall of Fame track. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He was
Yeah.
everything you thought he was going to be. He just got beat up.
Yeah.
And then said, "I've had enough." But 6 years of Luck.
He was 50
They
and
played an
33.
AFC championship game.
Yes, he did. They were getting better every single year.
Yeah. I mean, some of what he did in that era of the NFL is, yeah, I'm with you. I think Burrow's kind of the only one that's It's apples and avocados when you do the D-end quarterback thing. It's just that's not the same.
No.
I mean, Miles is the best defensive end in football by a wide margin, but
Yeah.
you can be the best defensive end. I could argue that maybe he was better last year than he was even the year before, and we won 3 games. So there's just a limit to the damage that position can do on an opponent
100%.
versus the quarterback, which touches the ball every play.
Got to have the quarterback.
Got to.
You got to. I mean, and I thought Emory Hunt made a very compelling case for Shedeur Sanders.
It's the damnedest thing with him. I do think he's right. I think it's just the Dion stuff, and I think that's what's happened in the last month is like all of these shows, and I'm talking about the ESPN shows, the NFL Network shows, I'm talking about radio shows, I'm talking about podcasts. Look, you're trying to create interest and drive conversation around the draft. Who are the names in this draft that everybody knows?
Yep. Shedeur.
Travis Hunter, Shedeur, but Shedeur's at the
Cam
top.
Ward.
Cam is even a lesser. I don't know if my wife, for example, would know who Cam Ward is.
Yeah.
I know she would know who Shedeur Sanders is. I know she would know that. You have to remember, 2 years ago at Colorado, in the first month of the season, they had 2 games with over 10 million viewers. Colorado became a household name.
Totally.
They are
College
known.
Game Day was live
Totally.
3 games in. The
College
Rock
game
was there.
College Game Day and Big Noon were both there on the same day. To my knowledge, it's the only game Big Noon has ever gone to, the only pregame show Big Noon has ever gone to where they did not have the game. They were there for the Colorado State game, which is an ESPN 10 o'clock kick. They were there. That's the only time I've
What
ever
a
seen.
game that was.
It
too.
was. It was a great game. It was kind of the end of it, though, because Hunter got hurt and then they fell off a cliff. But that's the only time to my recollection that Fox's Big Noon kick has gone to a game that they don't have the broadcast of. Every other time they've done it. So he's known. So if you're trying to create content, you say his name and it elicits content.
No doubt.
Yeah. Luck is, if you weren't, you're too young, G-Man, but like Luck was
John Elway.
Sure thing.
Oh, I know he was.
Luck
Well
was the
known.
best. He was the best prospect since John Elway.
Yeah. Even more highly regarded than Manning, because Manning
There are a lot of people that thought
Manning
Leaf.
couldn't win the big one.
Yeah.
Never forget Jim Rome talking about Leaf, saying you got to take Leaf over Manning. Like, I remember all that. And we're old enough to. But, yeah, man, it was Luck, Elway, Luck. Lock it in.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I was like 8 or 9 at the time, so I was sentient enough to understand just how good Luck was.
Sentient.
You're like
that.
Bootsy. You're Bootsy's age.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there you go. All right, good exercise. All right, it's time. It's the trial of Dr. J. We've heard so much about the skills. Z went out. We had a throwing
Jerry
session.
Rice.
Jerry Rice, I believe, is who is the doppelganger. So we'll do the trial of Dr. J coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. OBM, official provider of copiers and document services for your Cleveland Browns. They'll tackle any size office. The number is 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachine.com.
Gibby is giddy right now.
so
the
the-
look on his face is if it was like the trial of me.
I can't
great
wait
Dr.
for you
J's
guys
in
to
studio.
see what the G-Man has done.
So the great Dr. J's in studio. Let me give a quick backstory. Dr. J entered into the in-house flag football league
Yes.
a couple of weeks
We're number
ago
one right now, by the way, too.
and took it
with
by
your
storm.
with your 4.5 quarterback.
My 10 out of 10 quarter.
Now it's okay. All right.
So, all right. So, at the time, we thought, look, hey, Dr.
Well,
J's.
give us your background.
He played at North Carolina A&T. And so, okay.
Played when? What position was that?
receiver, slot receiver to be
slot
exact.
receiver to be exact. And we said, okay, my thinking was, would this bring Dr. Z out of retirement? Because you are one of the preeminent in-house flag football participants
Back in the day,
of all
I'm
time.
an old man now.
Yeah, but I know that the whip can still work, and you're in great shape, and let's see what happens
Felt
with
better
this.
than I thought it would, to be
Would
honest.
this get you rolling a little bit? So there was a throwing session. Do I have
Yes,
that part?
that's
correct?
right. Yep. And Dr. J going into it, we asked for his player comp.
That's right.
Yep.
And he said Jerry Rice,
He said Jerry Rice.
who is
Very much so.
largely considered to be the greatest, certainly receiver of all time. In many cases, he's considered the greatest player.
There's probably 3 players in the history of football that come to the top of my mind, and you could say greatest pure football player ever, and it's him, Jim Brown,
Brown.
and Lawrence Taylor are the
Yep.
3 that you could,
non-quarterbacks. Yep.
and almost like maybe even put them in that. So those 3.
Yes, he is on that
So
list.
this is high.
Expectations are. I'm expecting. What I'm
I've
expecting
seen nothing.
is.
You've not told me anything.
I'm
I
expecting.
left after the show and went downstairs to watch said throwing session.
you were a witness?
Oh yeah.
As was the Baldwin Wallace team and coaching
And
staff,
coach.
who had plenty of
They
comments.
were getting ready
did.
for spring ball.
So I was
Benefit to
expecting.
go to Baldwin Wallace, by the way. By the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
spring ball in the facility.
I
that
was
works out nice.
My expectations were blazing speed, crisp routes, and if the ball was in the vicinity, like a
Snag it.
vacuum, just snagging it all.
Okay. All right. Let's. I'm going to put on. All right. Do we have it? All right. Got to put on my
It
readers.
is ready to go.
All right. Go ahead. Here we go. All right.
March 21st.
So this says March 21st. Oh, here we go. I don't hear audio. Should I hear audio?
I don't hear audio either.
No, we do not hear audio.
If he's watching this, I have to be fair. Back.
Oh no, we're
Hold
starting
on,
from the
hold on.
beginning.
No,
How would you
restart,
grade your
restart,
quarterback?
restart.
Here we go. Here it is. On a 1 to 10.
1 to 10. If he's watching this, I have to be fair. I'm going 4.5.
Out of 10.
I have to be fair. No, I'm talking junk. I'm talking junk. I've given him
So much more to
So much more to come here. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, 4.5 out of 10. By the way, this is great. Naturally, we have decided to have a throwing session. See if Zagur and Dr. J add any chemistry. 4.5 out of 10. Turns out his quarterback,
Okay.
who is a coach on the staff,
Okay.
was a legendary JUCO player to the point that, as a quarterback,
Okay.
to the point where he was then recruited to and ended up playing quarterback
Okay.
at a Division I college.
Okay. Okay. All right.
4.5 out of 10.
4.5 out of 10. High standard. for
Jerry
Dr.
Rice.
J. Jerry Rice. Hey, you got to be Montana then. All
Okay.
right, so here we go. So now the screen says naturally we decided to have a throwing session. Here's how it went. So this is Z and Dr. J. This is a graph. Okay. You look great out there, Z. Look at you. A little pepper.
Oh, yeah, a little slant.
I got to say, I don't see the explosiveness in the route, Dr. J, that I'm going to need.
No, not at all. This is
That's
still
early.
jogging
It's
here.
starting
We're
off
just
very
warming up.
nicely.
We're warming up. Nice little throwing session. Oh, look at the rollout. Was Gibby in there?
Hey, there with a little
A
wave.
little waving. Okay, we're running some slants. Dr. Z feeling good about himself. Got his team hoodie on from his home club.
That's right.
Oh, little rounded on that out a little bit. A little rounded at the top.
Out,
of that
but look at
route.
him get on that. Oh, Jerry Rice. Dude, that was a laser.
You dropped it in the bucket like
That was
Will
a
Howard
laser.
to Jeremiah Smith, and he went off the hands.
Here's a little explosion for you. Just a tiny bit.
Okay, there you go. A little bit of a pop. Who's the
Still
poor
got it.
guy
That one had to
back
put a
there?
little air under him for him. He can't handle the heat, apparently. I feel like it looks still pretty good.
You know, it's funny.
Oh my God.
Dr. J,
Put your
sad.
hands like this. What is this? What is this? Looks like this. Toe drag.
Toe drag.
Goes 8 yards inside the. Toe drag's 8 yards inside the sideline.
Dr. J, what are we doing? Oh, a point up? I don't know where the wheels were on that.
I said, you saw
I
the hands
think that was an overthrow on the quarterback.
I said, go more vertical.
You gave the point. This video is unreal.
Yeah.
We got to put this up on the socials. Oh, there's a deep one down the side. Dr. J, where are you?
Look at his line. Look at his line.
What is our line doing, Dr. J? Why are we not
Stay wide.
stay wide?
There we go.
Didn't want
Outside-
to get too close to the sideline. Nice. Good pass.
That's
Good
way down
pass.
there. Come on.
Look at the kid. Still got it. Oh, little rollout. Oh, Dr. J, right in the bread basket.
Oh yeah, at least 100 push-ups for that one
Oh,
alone.
hate to see that. Look at this sprint out. Dude, you're ready.
Terrible pass.
That was
Terrible
probably
pass.
the
It was a
that
little low.
Little low.
Little
That
low.
one was low.
Jerry
That
Rice
was low.
catches it, though.
Yeah.
Oh. Can we run that one back?
Add
Can we
two
run that
hundred
one
to that.
back?
That's a
Can we
post.
run back that?
We did not leave after that one, the graphic says. Ooh, a little inside
This
fake
guy go a
handoff,
little-
little rollout, little corner.
Watch where this bounces. Oh my God! What do you want?
That's 10 yards out of bounds.
10 yards out of bounds.
It
The
is
ball
a-
bounces in the end zone.
Dr. J.
Does not play well when fatigued.
Did we catch that one?
Yes.
Okay, thank God.
I want to make him go back to that post.
You got to work on there. Do we hit that
Yep.
post at least? Okay.
I mean, I don't know what all this is. I don't know what this is.
You're running routes like Odell out here.
This is a timing-based offense.
Gotta make sure I ain't getting there too quickly.
He's getting there too quickly, he said. Okay. This is amazing. First of all,
Take a bow, G-Man. Take a bow.
Take a bow.
For sure.
So here's what I would say.
Hold on. Let me just
Go
say
ahead.
this.
You
Let me
jump in.
say
Please,
this first. Let me
please.
say this first. There is a kid who quarterbacks at Nebraska named Dylan Raiola, who wears number 15
He's
and has
Patrick
the same
Mahomes.
hair of
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the way you hold the ball, the way you drop is Jeff George. And I mean that, and I hope, and I know how much you love him.
Yeah, it's great.
It looks just like him. The way you drop,
Ultimate compliment.
the way you hold the ball,
Hold it a little low.
Even when you sprint out or anything, it looks exactly the way you hit the back of your drop. Looks like it was crazy.
Thank you.
Without even knowing that you loved him.
That's what
it looks
that's
like.
what
That's what it
invokes.
looks like to me. The way you held it low, all of it. It looks like George. In order to do that, you have to have a big whip. You've got a big whip, and so that works. Dr. J, you got to defend yourself a little bit here.
Yeah,
You were
nah.
not crisp.
Yeah, nah. I wasn't.
Some drops.
I mean, the post
did
one that he
have a
dropped
bloody
right in front of the
sock by
coach.
the time he
That was
was
right in
done.
front of the coach. He was.
He had a
furious.
shilling. He had.
Yeah, so my toe, when I took my cleats off, my toe was bleeding.
What?
He had like severe like
Had a
bleeding.
shilling.
A shilling was said.
I heard that. Hold on a
We
second.
gotta go
Hold
to
on a
equipment
second.
and get some shoes.
Hold on a second. I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that the shilling happened after the game that was played
Yeah,
later
yeah,
that
nah,
night.
it's
Not
marathon.
during our
Not during
session.
the throwing
Oh,
session.
I'm not
Marathon.
aware of this.
Yeah, marathon.
Not aware of
Let's,
this.
let's go ahead and keep the facts.
Just to
No,
put
no,
it
no,
out.
no. I mean,
Just to
I'm
put
not
it all
aware of
out there.
this.
First off, I will absolutely throw at you again.
we're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it. This is now an
I
ongoing.
want to see something where it's actually scripted. Like I want this
Give me a
number
few
of
breaks
plays.
in
I
there.
know. I'm going to coach it. We're going to go out. We'll just put you guys on a team, and we'll just go. You're ready.
I like
dude.
the sound of
I
that.
feel ready.
Dr. J's gonna get
So-
some more wheels under him. He's gonna be good.
So the one that I thought he made the best play on was one where I overthrew him on a deep one, and then he hit the Jets, and he made
Yeah.
a beautiful catch. The ones that he had the hardest part were the ones that were just like
Yeah.
perfectly in stride and thrown like right on him, because so that tells me that we're thinking
too much.
and we're not just catching the football.
Yeah, so I mean, you diving right into my athletic world for real. My coach used to always say, "You're just thinking too much out there," and I'm like, "Man, I'm trying to make sure I'm running at the right depth, trying to make sure I'm breaking at the right point, and all of that."
Be the ball.
Yeah.
And I think, and sometimes you get confused on your hands. You want to go your hands under
Yeah.
when you should have your hands up. But we're going to get there, Dr. I believe in Dr. J.
I also have like this weird thing where when I'm running, since I on the skinnier side of things as far as my legs go, but like my feet are so long that they're like kind of like clapping against each other. So sometimes when I'm running the routes, I'm like hitting my ankles. Yeah,
You're thinking too much.
Yeah, see,
Your coach is right. You're thinking too much, Dr.
Well, I mean,
J.
the one post, which I tried to, that was going to be the ender and that was going to be the walk-off because they were like really starting to begin their practice.
Yeah.
And so I put a little, and that was the one that he dropped. So we need to we're going to,
some
the
reps.
layups got to be layups. But we like the potential. If honestly, I had a great time. I'm happy
me
to do
too.
it again.
It's fun to
definitely
do it.
had a great time.
And then afterwards, where Stefanski's in there. And so I come over to Stefanski, who's talking to all the Baldwin Wallace coaches, and they're talking about it. And the coach was like, maybe this guy, you got a quarterback here. And coach was like, yeah, I don't think he's going to be our quarterback. But then Coach Stefanski was like, he'd be the first guy, though, I want to drive for our team off of the tee.
Especially with
golf.
your new
Yeah, and I was
driver.
like, oh, baby, he doesn't
Wait
even
till
know
you see
about
the
Wait till
new
you see the
driver.
launch angle. Come
Launch
on.
angle on this thing. All right, Dr. J, good job. Good job out of the G-Man as well. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, there you go, kids. The trial of Dr. J. And then we'll perhaps we'll see where this saga takes us going forward. The great Dr. J. All right, great job out of everybody. Really enjoyed that conversation with Emory. I know we put that out. And,
Yes.
get that wherever you get your podcasts in terms of the quarterbacks and how they're viewed. I think a lot of truth telling in that one. We will do this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the next level's coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.